Hello friends, for some of you have not met me, I'm Jaylee Balch, and obviously I'm really deeply involved with running your unconscious reality at the moment. You can see that I've just run in from the garden, I'm dressed the way I am because I'm totally acceptable, but I did put a bit of effort in so that I am presentable to you watching. And Paul and I decided that I would do a video as well so that I could introduce myself to you people who have never met me. It was very interesting for me because I was also doing another mundane thing. I was hanging up washing and taking washing in and doing all of that this afternoon. And I realized that with your unconscious reality and moving through the phases, and it seems at sometimes to be really shadowy, heavy, and really impact the body, really impact the mind, the thoughts, and especially deeply the emotions. It's like I'm putting a big spoon into your soup pot and really stirring it, because I find that I find in the garden that mistruths and errors that we have about ourselves are always hidden amongst the good stuff. And we seem to always look at the cabbages and the lettuces and the tomatoes in the garden and never see the little weeds that are growing around them, that are sucking up the nutrients and the good stuff in the water that also exists there. So part of your unconscious reality is learning to weed the garden and stirring that pot of soup so that we can see the veggies we don't want, and we can see what's in where, we can separate everything apart, is really important. But it can feel heavy, it can feel really challenging, and we're quite aware that your unconscious reality sometimes feels like your feet are buried in concrete, and for some people it's a much lighter journey. So this is not a suggestion, but I want to give you a little bit of context about that at the moment. There are volumes and volumes that I can bring in and share with you and take it in any direction. But the direction that I'm going to go to tonight here in Australia is that this unconscious reality sits as an undercurrent. An undercurrent that seems to be hidden from the surface, much like lava is hidden just below the crust of the earth. And as much as we focus on the really good stuff and the stuff that seems to launch us forward, and we can harness our dreams and our creativity, and we think kindly towards people, get excited about options, experiences, events, and as much as we can do that, we always seem to just go through life with a head above the water. Like we can breathe and we can stay alive, and perhaps we can even tread water. But there is a bit in us that wants to be able to begin to swim, to know how to swim powerfully, to swim in the water in any direction we want to, and to feel powerful that we can move through consciousness, knowing exactly where we're going, what we're doing, how to get there, how to avoid obstacles, how to avoid the treacherous pitfalls that seem to sit there, but also how to negotiate, navigate the future without the undercurrent that sits just beneath the surface. Now, part of our task with all the work that we're involved in is to lift people up, first of all, to help them understand that you don't have to sink, you don't have to drown, that you can breathe and take big, deep breaths, but also on top of it, you don't have to be in the water. So part of what we have to do is create life rafts that you can grab a hold of, or life-saving tubes, so that you can at least lift out of the water and feel a little bit freer. And that takes a lot of interesting things from us, a lot of angles that we approach it from, so that you can feel safe, like your life is in far better conditions than what it has been. You must get the feeling that you're afloat, you can breathe, you're not in danger. It also means that you get the opportunity to go over eddies go through whirlpools, miss rocks, that the life buoy you're on takes the buffeting so that your body and you don't have to. You don't have to fear what's in the water. Now from there, it is our task then through time, and I've got to tell you the unconscious reality cannot do all of these steps, is to actually get you placed in a boat. A beautiful boat. It can be a rowboat, a galleon, whatever you want. Because ultimately you want to navigate the river of life from a very comfortable place. Now I want to bring you to an analogy on the Sea of Galilee. That it's only in a boat like that that has a place that's under the water, perhaps like where you go downstairs into the bottom of the boat and you have the top part of the boat, that the master, the true self, the grand self, is actually in there and sleeping because they're not needed. And it's only when life gets rocky, the winds blow and the storms howl and the waves get choppy, that you ever need to go deep inside to awaken the master, to awaken the true self, so that you can have help to calm the waves and to calm the storms. It's a very interesting analogy, but the process is always to make people aware that they're in the water. They're up to here in their neck with a whole lot of stuff in the undercurrents of their life. You know, we approach many topics as possible for a reason. We approach the young adult, the child, you know, the adolescent, all of that for a reason. We go into parenting, we go into all sorts of these shame-based ideas and emotions and mental viruses that we pick up along the way, because they keep us in the water, neck deep, breathing and managing to go with the river of life, but only just keep just above the surface. It's our intent for students that work with us, people that work with us over time, is to be in that ship, in that galleon, with the double layers, with the sails flying and going at breakneck speed. And obviously with a crow's nest up in the galleon, there's far-sightedness. You can see way ahead, you can see obstacles, you can navigate around them, and you don't have to get caught by them. And of course you can see options that someone in a tube or a swimmer struggling to swim in the water can never see. So the navigation of your future is ultimately at the bottom of everything we teach and who we are, so that you can get to a very, very powerful, strong, in tune, able place where you can lay the foundations for a future. Now we've got to get your guidance system also working. So your body and all those parts of you, they need to be switched on, cleaned out, sorted out, so that the guidance system. I came up with an analogy a couple of years ago that I felt like the soul, and there's a place in my chest here that really speaks loud. And I always use the analogy with the soul that it doesn't like photocopies, habits, or things done repeatedly over and over and over again. The soul yearns and yearns for first-time experiences or new experiences that it's never had as you navigate through your life. It sits in here and it quickly tells you whether it doesn't like what you're doing and if it does like it. And I said that the soul is like, you know, the black box that you get that's in aeroplane, and they always go, when an aeroplane goes down, they always go to look for the black box, because the black box is like a recorder that keeps note of every single thing that ever happened on the flight of that aeroplane. Your soul does the same thing, except it sits and is part of a cavity in the chest just behind the heart that they've measured in a very small, I don't know how well known it is, but there's a cavity, that pocket here that has no gravity. Now it's the soul that resides there. So what does that mean? It means that your soul is connected to far more than just this life. It's connected to all your lives, all the parallels, or your reincarnational probables, doesn't matter, or your future selves, past selves. It's connected to them all. It knows everything you've done, everything you've been, every experience you've had. So the minute you start on a course in life that seems to be a repeat, it's a dead end, you've done it before, it's a habit. So, automatic actions and thinking that you have, the soul does not want that. It wants new. It wants stuff it's never tasted before. Now, if you have a trail of lifetimes behind you where you've had 300 really awful lifetimes that have awful things in them, your soul's yearning for really light, lofty, and incredible experiences that bring a ton of joy. It's the black box that you have. It can quickly tell you if you've been somewhere before in any of your lives. It's going to say, don't go there. It doesn't feel good. And it's not going to jump for joy. I always said that the spirit, which is our guidance system, is like the GPS, right? It helps us navigate this lifetime through intent and helping us where to go, what to become. We are always divinely, absolutely connected to a true self, to a grand self. Now, I'm a teacher who refused a very long time ago and made the decision that I would not teach concepts or anything that I have not knowledge on or I don't have wisdom on. And wisdom defined is something where you have had experience, you have knowledge plus experience, you have ownership. And it comes from a place where you have conviction. That is all I will teach on. So most often, if there's a topic that I do not have knowledge on, do not have wisdom on, do not have conviction on, I actually will say very little. Or I will say to you, I have some info, I have an opinion. That's all I have. So I tend to stay away from some topics like drugs and that because I've never had any in my life. So I really don't have any tangible experiences. Although I have worked with a lot of people who have. So that is my only reference point. So where was I at? So the soul and the GPS go in that direction. So when I say to you, now I remember where I am. So when I say to you that you're connected to the true self and the grand divine self all the time, I'm not just saying that because it sounds good. I've read it in a book or because a teacher taught it to me. I say it. I've been there. I've done it. I have the knowledge. I know how. I can teach it. I can guide it. And I know where it is. I know how it looks. But it's very difficult to describe to people where the most incredible pearl of wisdom is. If there's layers and layers and layers of debris and sediment, the debris and sediment has to be sorted out and moved out of the way before that pearl of wisdom can be found, so that you can hold it with clean hands and feel really good, because it is a treasure and it needs to be held very well and very properly. And it's also like, I also teach that everybody has two balls. And that's a naughtiness in me when I say something like that. But in all innocence, the first ball that you have is made of rubber. And it's called love. Now you can hand your ball of love to everybody on the planet. And many people respect it, some won't. But remember, a rubber ball bounces. So you can have a fight with someone you love, and you'll bounce back, and then you'll love each other again. That's beautiful. The other ball that you have is made of crystal, and it's called trust. And you drop it once, and it shatters. And that's why in a lot of relationships, although people loved each other and trust each other, if the ball of trust is dropped and they part, the rubber ball still exists, so they still love each other, but maybe perhaps can't be together because of the ball of trust. It's no longer there. So that'll just help you with a bit of understanding. So I wanted to just give you a chat tonight so that you can get to know a little bit about me, meet me, and this is fun. I like doing this stuff, and the students that I'm working with, some of our teachers around the globe have been encouraged me to do more and more videos where I approach topics, and we're actually right now, this last 2 weeks, working hugely, lots of emails, to work on this, to try and get them up, get the bandwidth, so we can really have a lot of fun playing with our world. So watch this space. I do try and reach in many different ways, through my blog, Sugar Pixie, through my website, and Facebook and Instagram. Now I'm pretty new to some of those, I've only just been introduced to them. Thank goodness people are prompting me and really, really helping me. And because most of the time you will catch me out in the garden, working with the garden, with nature, and calling the birds and learning about the butterflies and caterpillars, and because I believe nature and do know that nature holds a spectacular treasury of natural nuggets that belong to our natural selves. And when we align ourselves more and more and more with that natural self, we become ageless. We live to 120 years, we're never sick, and we just decide to lie down our body and to move on to greener pastures. And that's the aim that I have in learning what I am in the garden with the natural self. So I think I've spoken enough, and I hope for both of us to make a little bit more videos for you and with you. And I do believe that sometime in the very near future that we're actually going to be meeting you and spending time with you. And that is going to be a joyous, miraculous, incredible moment for both Paul and myself. So I wish you a good night. I hope you enjoy this little clip, and I will be speaking to you all very soon. And I'll now be switching the video off. Speak soon.